Hello, hi, good afternoon, everyone. We'll start in a few minutes. Just give me a second. All right, hi, good afternoon, everyone. People are still joining in. We'll just wait for a couple of more minutes. And before I actually begin taking the test, let me actually go through what you all have said in the comments box so far. Okay, hello, hi, good afternoon. I hope all of you are doing well. Is 55 out of 92 good in mock test? Keshav, I would not say it's very good. I would say it's decent. What we should be trying to achieve should be somewhere above 75. Our raw score should be somewhere above, around or above 75. Uh, if you really want to be in the top 15 percentile, like in the top 15%, if you want to stay like above 85 or above 90 percentile, if you want, we should be aiming at a raw score of somewhere in the range of 74 to 75. See, I would be looking a little down in between is because I'm reading your chats, your comments in the on your YouTube live. So okay, Shreya, so I think I answered your question. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to the session. LSAT NMIMS cutoff. Last year, it was over and above 85 percentile. Is this test also available for student portal? Actually, good question. Let me actually share my screen now, because by the time I saw the test was not live. Yes, yes, the test is now live. So I'll be taking the most recent one which got live just now, which is LSAT India mock test 5. So a few days back, I did take a mock. I did not really perform very well in that mock. It was the first mock that I took, and I scored a 50 out of 100. So it was just a 50% that I had scored. Uh, the, the thing was that I took it after a year, and in between, I had no practice. Before I take this mock today, I wanted to have a practice at least to sit through 2 hours and 20 minutes. Now, the biggest difficulty or the biggest challenge that I face taking LSAT India mock, and this I'm saying, which is very personal, would be that uh, you don't get breaks. You don't get breaks. It's continuous reading, a lot of reading, thinking, analyzing, and answering. So at times it becomes very, it becomes very taxing to the brain. One thing that can always help you is your confidence. Don't become overconfident, of course, but your confidence that you can do other sections well is something which will help you navigate the entire examination properly. Yes, the stamina is required, which I hope all of you have to sit through and take a 2 hours and 20-minute test, which I personally did not have at present. But still, I'll try to steer through that 2 hours and 20 minutes today. I'll try to keep speaking as much as I can. I would request all of you to keep solving at my pace. Whatever your way of thinking or whatever it may be, that is absolutely fine. You can keep writing down your answers, jotting down your answers in a piece of paper, and at the end, because I can't keep jumping between sections, we'll have to go each section as it comes on the screen. So let's see how we all perform together, and at times see as to how do I act a little street smart as soon, like at all the places that I can do. Since we cannot navigate through the sections as per our convenience, how do we prepare ourselves mentally? Uh, okay, so the idea is to, all right. So I'll tell you what my strategy is. So my overall score that I want to, maybe get to is somewhere around 74, 75. That is what my target score is. That is where I want to reach. Now I know what my strong areas are. So my strong areas include both logical reasoning and reading comprehension. I am not very good with those caselets. I'm not good with matrix arrangements and questions like that, because it takes a lot of time for me. I do get confused, and I generally don't tend to complete all the questions in that section. Now, if that section comes up in the very beginning, that would definitely deter me, or might actually hamper my overall paper. So I'm just hoping that the first section is not analytical reasoning. Uh, Other sections, whatever comes, I am completely okay with that. One thing that I would want to do in this entire paper would be to, so if, for example, I get 20, 20, 20 correct in all the three others, which are my, strong areas, the strong subject, like the strong sections, I would reach to a score of 60, 62 somewhere. Therefore, reaching or getting a 12 in that analytical section would entail that I solve at least two to three, caselets, and I would be done. So that is what my strategy is, to maximize my score in my strong areas, and maybe navigate moderately in the difficult section that I face. Is 5-year and 3-year LSAT LB entrance exam of the same difficulty? Yes, the exam is not different. Achieving accuracy in analytical reasoning part. The fifth one is the most recent one, which I have been asked to take. Even you take it after 3 days, you won't remember. Trust me. You take any mock and you take it, you retake it after 3 days, you won't really remember a thing. So you all have a lot of practice by now. So all of you have taken 4 mocks already. Uh, it wouldn't really matter whether you take the fifth one all by your own, or by looking at this session. That is completely okay. 3 days and you forget everything. I don't even remember one question that of the first LSAT mock that I took, and I took it like 3-4 days back. So all right, now I think we'll start. And Can you give tips to enhance accuracy? Okay, I'll definitely do that. Once I start taking the test, I'll definitely do that. Okay, so wait, I'll have to reshare the screen. All right, so the first section that I have is logical reasoning 1, logical reasoning 2, analytical reasoning, and English and reading comprehension. Okay, so one of my strong areas is something which has come towards the fag end. Fair enough, fair point. So now let us look at the questions. 25 questions. My target is to get some 20 odd questions correct. I have 34 minutes. Let's start, guys. You guys can also read. Which one of the following most accurately expresses the main conclusion of the philosopher's argument? The conclusion is God is majestic, nature is. So I'm concluding before going to the options. I'm actually concluding as to what this philosopher is saying. So it's basically praising the God. So let me look at what option matches that. So I think C makes most sense. Moving on to the next one. The passage answers which of the following questions? Uh, so it's basically as adults, women are three times more likely to suffer from migraines than men, which shows that how common migraine headaches are amongst children and adolescents. So I think A seems to be the most plausible one. Migraine triggers, no. Symptoms of migraines, no. Okay. The author of the above would agree with which of the following arguments below? Okay, so he says newspapers failed to report Andrew Wakefield's research in context. So for him, it's the context that matters. That is what the author is saying. Uh, okay, so the last one makes the most sense. In the world of science, context is the king. We need more of it because one small study simply shouldn't have mattered against the broader weight of scientific evidence, fraud or otherwise. That is what he says, that one study should not have outshone the entire scientific evidence. So that context is important. So he would agree with the final option. In Shanghai, what customers want is to have food delivered to their door within 30 minutes. Guys, I hope you are writing your answers in a piece of paper because I'll show you at the end how to analyze as well. Okay, which of the following most logically completes the passage? What almost all of Asia's consumer markets have in common is that they move faster than they used to. No, they're not talking about Asia because they are talking about Nigeria as well in the passage. So A is gone. In India, more than in any other major consumer market, what consumers want is to order something online and pay cash on delivery. This can logically follow. Phenomena is often attributed to millennials, but their growing influence is only one, though the most dramatic. Customers can be anyone, can be old, young, millennials, whatever. So see name. Among 449 companies that expected market disruption to increase in the next 2 years, 51%. They are talking about market disruption, but the passage is not talking about market disruption. Find that manufacturers and retailers know that change is coming. Now, what ideally, logically completes, what logically follows this is B. So before you actually go to the options, try to formulate an answer in your head itself after reading it. Most Americans eat too fast. Okay, so I have to strengthen the argument. So it says eat slow, eat leisurely. It will give you more time, and your brain will trigger a signal that you are full. So, what will strengthen this argument that you should eat slow? It drove the rest of the family crazy. No, it has nothing to do with biology. B is absolutely opposite to what it is. It says. So C is one which absolutely goes with what the argument is. I will not be reading the other two. Okay, one is all of the above. But A and B is absolutely wrong. So D, E is gone. C is the correct one. I don't really have to confuse myself. Okay, moving on. 26 minutes left. All right. Okay, so Generation Y finished schools and are reaping the financial benefits of education, which Gen X did not get because 2 out of 3 people were undereducated. Okay, which of the following is the author most likely to agree with? C, most obvious. The better the people's educational attainment, the better their earning potential. That is exactly linked with Generation X because they saw underemployment because of undereducation, which is not a problem with Generation Y. Okay, so you can change your personality traits, but it takes a lot of hard work to make certain changes. Which of the following weakens the argument? So basically, I have to find a option which says I cannot change my personality trait. So let me find what is it is. Okay, so D is definitely saying what, or rather, weakens that argument because if I'm generally a shy, even if I put in a lot of efforts, I will still remain shy as I get older. So that is something which weakens the argument. All right. Okay, so they're talking about the first minute of that popcorn, no real sign of happening. So there has to be second minute, and in popcorn terms, where that second minute says ins funk. Okay, B is not there, C is not there, D भी नहीं है. Okay, but then you get to that second minute and the kernel starts doing their thing. So A and E, both of them are in the same line, but A is something which is coming from someone who has said something. And in popcorn terms, we are in that second minute. But what happens in the second minute is not which completes the paragraph. I would go with E, as that is something which completes in a entire sense. Main conclusion of the author's argument. So the author's argument is that the teacher has to take care. The teacher has to build relationships. You have to build relationships, you have to understand, you have to care. It's all about likeness of that relationship. ठीक है? Main conclusion, monitors themselves to be certain way, assignments, no. No. When you tell your students you have confidence that they can handle difficult assignment or improve their behavior, you impart a very powerful message. This could be true. Um, Correcting and disciplining students is an no. But you have confidence they can handle. No, so even confidence, when I tell the students that I have confidence in them to handle a difficult assignment, they improve their behavior. No, but the overall author's argument is about the relationship that I build. I think none of the above. Gravity is very important to us. Okay, complete the above passage. However, gravity isn't the same everywhere on Earth. Correct. So this seems correct to me. A is the most obvious one. I have to reduce cost, embrace robotics. More money, more innovation, more money I have, more new products, bigger workforce I can hire. Okay? The argument's conclusion follows logically if which one of the following is assumed. So, what is the assumption here? The assumption is that there are two assumptions. One, the only way to fight job losses is to train the talent that we have. So ideally अगर देखो तो the two assumptions, but both of them are not assumptions per se. Indirectly they are given in the passage itself. B and C, the only way to fight job losses is to train the talent in using advanced automation. Correct. Robotics and automation have been linked to lost manufacturing jobs. Manufacturing jobs, not necessarily. I am not very sure. A majority of you are also confused between B or C. Chalo, majority of you say B. I'll go with B. Okay. 12th question, 18 minutes left. So basically, they are glorifying tea. They say that tea is one of the most popular choices. People are actively seeking out uh, tea as even as an alternative. Mm, Even though tea has as much sugar, they will still transition over to tea. 2 billion people drink tea every morning. So which of the following is are in line with the image of tea? A lot of people drink tea, correct? Ready to drink tea products have seen 15% increase in sales and consumption. Okay. 87% of young people say that they regularly drink tea. Okay. On any given day, over one half of the population drink tea. When you say one half of the population drink tea, it means huge consumption. But then 2 billion, more or less, this they say one of the same things. I am not very sure, but 2 billion people drink tea every morning. The world population is around 7 billion. 3.5 billion, over 3.5 billion people, drink tea. Which of the following is are in line with the image of the tea market as presented in the passage? Ideally, 87% also presents a good number. 15, 15 times increase in sales and consumption also gives a good number. So B, C, D, all. So I would rather go with E, all of them. In the play, but our role is to take a step back and let them do as much as they can on their own. Some frustration is expected and perhaps necessary for them to solve the problem. As children naturally observe, sort, measure, compare, and manipulate objects, they are building basic science and math skills. Which statement strongly supports the passage? Okay. Play is tedious work for children. Play helps children develop self control and social skills. Fair point. Play leads children to the discovery of the physical world. This is even better. Play leads to competition and perfection, or all of the above. Competition and perfection, they're not talking about. So, all of the above is not, and A is also not correct. So, all of the above goes B and C. Naturally, observe, sort, measure, compare, and manipulate. I think physical world is fine. 14 minutes, 12 questions. Okay. Hey, too much to read. I'll come back to it later. Okay. Uh, okay. Which of the following closely resembles the argument which is presented in the passage? Um, A is wrong. Identity fraud has never been easier thanks to social media. Makes sense. Funding for children, no. Making children more aware of culture, no. Studying online tools and material, no. B is the most obvious one. Which of the following weakens the argument presented in the passage? What weakens the argument? So it is talking all about the pros of yoga and physiotherapy. But if you say practicing yoga regularly for some people with pre-existing injuries can be harmful, so that weakens the argument that yoga is not good for everyone. Makes sense. The diminutive Manipuri. What is diminutive? I have no idea. Most successful. So must be a positive adjective. The most successful female boxer in the history of world championships. Now all eyes are at the 2020 Olympics. Which of the following best completes the passage? So something which is in lines with Olympics. No Commonwealth Games, no. In the Indian boxer placed, no. Bees, no. Okay, Tokyo Olympics is C. No. Yeah, so what logically finishes or completes is something related to Tokyo Olympics. That's the C. Which of the following is true according to the passage? So Nepal, if this trend continues, Nepal could become the first country to double its national tiger population. To double the world's wild tiger population. Okay. Nepal conducted a national tiger survey between November 17 and April 2018. एक minute. 2009 by 2022. The National Conservation Day, we don't know. We can't be sure. Cannot. It will not necessarily be true. Country's political commitment. No. Adoption of innovative tools and approaches towards tiger is making a difference. Maybe. No country has yet doubled its wild tiger population. This makes the most sense because Nepal could become the first country to double. So no one else has done it. Move ahead. 9 minutes, 7 questions. Oh my god. Alan Turing, truly the feat of hero, homosexual man. The author is most likely to agree with which of the following. Nearly everyone has heard the name of Alan Turing by now. No, Alan Turing is not just a historical figure but also a pop icon. Most important figures of uh, This is one of the most important because of the 20th century, 1900s, yes, World War II, cracking the code of German Enigma, altered the course of war and thereby history. So C is correct. All of the above cannot be correct. This is right. Okay, at the Berlin Olympics, meeting him, Hitler welcomed Hyanshan warmly. What is a valid assumption on which the passage is based? He offered him a high-ranking post in the German army, assuming that he was one of the best hockey players. He was very impressed, huh? B is the most correct. A suitable title for this passage, the Sabrimala Road. This was there in the news a lot, so this title was also there. Easy question. Too much of reading in this question. ठीक है, good citizen. Which of these is in line with what a good citizen is? Okay. Teaching their children how to stay informed, get involved, obey law, necessity of voting, parents and mentors, how to improve society. Correct. Paying taxes in one form or other, including federal. Correct. This is also correct. All of the above. Let me where help or change is needed by getting involved through offering the knowledge. Correct. So far I have left two questions. I'm yet to do two more questions, and I have 5 minutes and 30 seconds left on my timer. So I'll easily get some time to take some rest as well before I go to the next section. Is the Bharat or groom's possession processions for the ceremony? The priest, groom, bride, and bride's parents sit beneath a chupa. The ceremony starts off with the Kanyadan, in which the bride's parents give her away. The couple joins. Okay. Which of the following questions is the passage addressing? What are you going to find in a Indian wedding? What should I wear? No. What will the Indian wedding reception be like? Reception नहीं wedding है तो. Is it true that Indian weddings last for several days? No. What can I expect to see at an Indian wedding? Yeah, viral pneumonia, antibiotics won't help. And although we are still contagious, other people won't necessarily develop pneumonia even if they catch the same virus. It could present itself as a simple cold for the next person, even though you were lucky enough to have it settle in your lungs and irritate them. Lucky enough to have it settle in your lungs and irritate them. That's kind of sarcasm. What is a valid assumption for this passage? Assumption. Pneumonia can lead to death. This is not an assumption. There's more than one type of pneumonia. Fever and lethargy are signs of pneumonia, cannot be assumed. Pneumonia causes inflammation of the lungs. This could be an assumption. Pneumonia is contagious. This cannot be an assumption. It is already given in the passage. So it could be B or D. There is more than one type of pneumonia, or pneumonia causes inflammation of the lungs. It definitely inflames the lung. No, uh, pneumonia is contagious नहीं होगा because it's already there. So it cannot be an assumption. Causes inflammation of the lungs, but then it says it could present itself as a simple cold for the next person. So not necessarily in a simple cold I have inflammation in the lung. So I will have to go with there are more than one type of pneumonia, though I'm not sure of it, but that could be an assumption. So now let me try. I have 1 minute 44 seconds. Let me try it. Incentive for the two parties to win each other's lives. Which line would follow? To be very honest, I'm done. Like I don't really want to read it. Uh, the part is I'm confident that I have solved majority of the questions correctly. So I can take some, wild guesses. Qualities that they represent that provide the incentive for two parties to be in each other's life. Rather than being short-lived, such relationship often lasts until the end. And there is quite generally a base level of goodness required in each person for it to exist. This is something which follows. Correct. Now I come to 14. 28 second. Let me just mark something. Say a C. Now I'll just wait for 20 seconds, take some rest. That rest period is important. I because I have a lot to read in coming sections, and here comes the second one. Okay, 25 questions again. Happiness is love, or good relationship keeps us happier and healthier. Happiness is love, good relationship. Happiness is love, and good relationship keeps us happy. So good relationship has love. If alcoholism is not the root of all evil, it is closely correlated with it. Okay. Which of these would weaken the argument above? 72% of the people studied have not and do not expect to consume substances such as alcohol, tobacco, and weed. This does. This weaken it. But that is only with respect to the second one. I will go with it. Rather, I would actually take a 20-second break. I, I have reached some saturation. See, uh, while you're while you take a LSAT final mock, make sure that you only keep a pen, a water bottle, and maybe a rough notebook, papers, kind of a thing. And you should not have anything else on the table. I have my phone, of course, because I have to see now. I need to get going. Try their hand at basic dog training with a virtual puppy. History of dogs, how they came to be in such variety. Okay. The passage is talking about shop, palace, cafe, museum. 30 million year old fossil, history of dogs, all of this you find in a museum. Sweet potatoes are rich in vitamin C and vitamin B6. 4 grams of plant-based fiber, which helps in getting a healthy weight and reverses hunger. Which of the following can be concluded from the passage? Sweet potatoes are very good, healthy for you. Unique health benefits of regular potatoes with a little extra. No, they're not talking about regular potatoes. They are healthy for you, sure. Have more carbohydrates than non-starchy and no. Healthiest way to eat all potatoes is with skin, no. Deeper the coloring of sweet potato, no. Color वाला कुछ नहीं is correct. While gaining strong fold in the rankings for the second year in a row, Japan has the most powerful passport in the world. Henley, Henley's index. 190 countries of Korea and Singapore share the number two spot, while the Chinese passport is currently sitting in the 69th place. China most dramatic leaps in the ranking, jumping about 20 places in only 2 years. So 89 to 69 therefrom. Okay. Which of the following will weaken the position of Asian countries in the powerful passport argument? Okay. But Asian countries don't have total domination of the list. France, Germany share the third most powerful spot. Denmark, Italy, Finland, and Sweden all share the fourth spot. This definitely weakens Asian countries. It's important to remember that this ranking is not necessarily a competition. No. Every few months, Handy Passport ranks the world's different passport based on how many places. This is explaining Henley Passport Index. Last year, US placed fifth, tied with 4 other countries. According to this year's rankings, US has led 6 other countries: Austria, Netherlands, Norway, Portugal, Switzerland, and UK. So D also is correct because this also shows that Asian countries are not dominant in the index, but A is more obvious, more correct, more direct. So travel is good for kids. Which of the following strengthens the argument? Not everyone has the resource for impactful travel. No. Traveling abroad can be a major event in the life of kids. Teachers or children who travel to countries other than home less satisfied. No, it does not strengthen. Kids who travel were more likely to have higher independence. Bingo. So if you really understand what the passage is talking about and you formulate the answer in your head, you just have to find the corresponding option. So it all boils down to how well do you understand what is given in the passage. Good time management enables you to work smarter, not harder. Get more done in less time. When time is tight, the pressures are high. Failing to manage your time damages your effectiveness and causes stress, correct? The author would likely agree to which of the following with regards to time management. Uh, Working smarter to enhance productivity. Simple. As you learn Kung Fu, you find that the practice is more than just kicking and punching. Through the art, you learn the basics, the principles, the forms, the exercises, the application. But all this are really a tough, sorry, but all of these are really a study of yourself. Okay, study of yourself. It is you who is doing the movements, and in time it may become more than something you just do. The understanding gained from long-term practice becomes a part of who you are. Through the passage, the author wants to communicate Kung Fu is great for self-defense, is great exercise, is about self-awareness. Women traditional from is who you are, you become yourself, self-awareness. What can be concluded from the passage? Branching out in different directions. John teamed up with lyricist this. John is an award-winning musician. That is definitely a conclusion. He won Academy Awards, Tony Awards, short-lived career, can't conclude. Singer from Britain, दिया है क्या? No. Famous director and producer, has acted in the film Lion King. No, can't conclude. He's a famous director and producer. Could be because branching out in different directions. But this is not. But he could have branched out from music only. He definitely is an award-winning musician. I'll go with him. Too much reading here. Skip. This is short. What is this passage about? The true meaning of Swaraj, what Swaraj meant to Gandhi, where Swaraj will work today, why Swaraj worked to overthrow the British rule, how can we continue? The true meaning of Swaraj or what Swaraj meant to Gandhi. Wait, Gandhi gave it the content of an integral revolution that encompasses all spheres of life. But this is not dumb. This is not quote unquote. So, for Gandhi, good government is no substitute for self-government. So I think what Swaraj meant to Gandhi makes more sense. Sometimes it feels like we are the only people cycling to work in Mumbai. It feels safer than cycling in London. And as antagonistic, I have not had to cross word the whole time I've been here. There's less road rage, less aggression, less confrontation. People are hooting their horns all the time, but not in anger. It's to communicate where they are and where they are going. Okay. Which of the following is the speaker most likely to agree? So the speaker says that cycling in Mumbai is a better experience than cycling in London. So that is what he will agree to. Bus drivers, truck drivers, they won't see you, they'll kill you. No, nobody commutes by bike in Mumbai. You'd had to be mad. No, he says that this is opposite. I don't feel in danger while cycling in Mumbai. All I can think is, why don't people do this? Why don't more people do this? This definitely makes sense. I've got a car, but it's gathering dust. You see lots of riders on weekend mornings along the seafront, and then those riders start using their bikes during the week too. No, C is the most obvious one. Too much reading. This is a short one. Once you see why others believe what they believe, acknowledge it. Once you see why others believe what they believe, acknowledge it. Remember, acknowledgement does not always equal agreement. You can accept that people have different opinions from your own, and that they may have good reasons to hold those opinions. Fair enough. So it's like avoiding confrontation by acknowledging how the other person thinks. You don't have to agree with what they think, but you can at least acknowledge that they have the right to think the way they think. The passage is mostly about putting aside your viewpoint. No, I can have my viewpoint. Validating the other person's perspective. Yes. Examining one's attitude. No. Responding encouragingly to the central message. Could be. Looking for non-verbal cues while in a conversation. No. So validating other person's perspective. So I'm at least so I'm basically validating that you can uh, think the way you want to think. Okay, makes sense. Savarkar wrote, they seem to they seem to have seen none more cruel and hard-hearted than he. Which of these is one of Savarkar's assumptions? So Mr. Barry is very cruel. No, because it is already there. I think C. He was the jailer of the prison. That is why every he was cruel and hard-hearted, and people were very afraid of him because he went into a prison. So Savarkar's assumption is that Mr. Barry, who everyone is afraid of, is the jailer of the prison. I think I can take a 40-second break. I have 19 minutes and 10, 11, 12, 13 questions. A good amount of time. I'll take some 30-second break. See, doing it slowly but efficiently is more important because I can do it very fast and can have say 10 minutes of time left per section. But that is something which I would not want because when I have 10 minutes, I start overthinking. I can't have 10 minutes of continuous relaxation during a test. Our mind does not work that way. We still have some amount of stress that there is good amount of questions left. So it would be better that I take some small breaks in between to, from reading, giving some rest to my eyes and everything, and then maybe moving ahead. Because in analytical reasoning, I'm not going to get that time. That I know. Okay, so we come to this one. Then there are theories that aliens built the pyramid, which can be followed. Paragraph can be followed by which of the options? Standing today with relatively minor damage. So basically, they're talking about how these pyramids were constructed, different theories, two theories basically. One, how men constructed it, and another, like aliens built it. There is no wonder why the Great Pyramid of Giza was on the list of seven wonders of the ancient world. Great Pyramid, when completed, was faced in the gleaming white Tura limestone, which must have presented quite a spectacular appearance in the Egyptian desert. However, the pyramids were constructed, it is a marvelous feat and should be respected. How the Sphinx was constructed has always been the subject of very passionate debate by scholars. Keshav, rather than talking something about something entirely different in the chat box, maybe write the answers. So, however the pyramids were constructed, it's a marvelous feat and should be respected, makes sense. And how the Sphinx was constructed has always been a subject of very passionate debate by scholars. Because there are two ways how to go about it, how these were constructed. They're talking about Sphinx, which is a particular pyramid, like a particular structure. I would go with D because, again, whatever the theory may be, howsoever the pyramids may have been built, it is marvelous and it should be respected. Whether aliens built it or whether humans built it, regardless of that. That's the most logical one. Okay, Mitford questioned the dignity and utility of these invasive procedures. She was dismayed, questioned the dignity and utility. Okay, she was dismayed that morticians would sometimes discourage an essential medical autopsy because it would make it harder to identify the body. She objected to the fact that they often wield their services in pseudopsychology, arguing that a lavish funeral with a pimped and plugged and polished corpse was essentially for the grieving process, despite little evidence this was the case. Which of the following views strengthen Mitford's view on the deceased? So, cosmetic things need not be done. That is what Mitford is questioning. Because morticians sometimes discourage essential medical autopsy because it would be harder to beautify the body. And people need beauty in the dead bodies, all pseudopsychology. Polished corpse, pin, plugged, neat and clean is more for the grieving process. There's no scientific evidence that it is important. So, which of the following strengthens Mitford's view? So what strengthens is the option E. Some philosophers balked at the fact that death was being prettified and sanitized. You are making death look very nice, beautiful, which is actually masking the true trueness about our mortality. That everyone has to die, and once you die, your body start decaying. You look bad, ugly, whatever. So that is something which strengthens that view. Okay. Okay, I have lesser time now. I'll have to increase my pace a little bit. Sometimes it is not possible for them to attend the parliament due to some of the commitments, but parliamentary proceedings need to continue throughout the session. Therefore, low quorum facilitates this task with an attendance as low as 55 for Lok Sabha and 25 for Rajya Sabha. Based on the passage, what can quorum be inferred to mean? Quorum is the basic number that you want. The minimum attendance of members required for the proceeding of a House of Parliament to begin. Yes, I don't need to read the rest. This cash 22 for retirement savings is further complicated by the challenges many women already face, including needing to stretch their savings for longer than men due to their longer average lifespan. In addition, women's income remains lower than men's on average, which can also contribute to lower overall savings. Okay, so the problem is the question in the passage is attempting to answer the fact that women have lesser savings than men. Why do women save less than men for retirement? Uh, because it gives us two answers. One, because they live longer, therefore their savings are less. And second, their income is less, therefore their overall savings is also less. So therefore, women save less than men for retirement. That is the question that has been answered. Makes sense. Rest of all of them are like weird. We should be proud Indians. We should be proud of the Statue of Unity. In most cases, people who are criticizing the biggest statue in the world are the very people who boast about their pictures clicked at Statue of Liberty, prize the Redeemer, blah blah blah. But when their own country decides to have its own monument that one can be proud of, they offer resistance. Why? Do we not deserve better things? Which of the following arguments weakens the argument presented in the passage? So basically, the argument is that biggest structure in the world is important, is a better thing which we need. So what can weaken it is that we don't need that statue and we need something else. The sadistic pleasure of a particular ecosystem derives through hate is something I shall never be able to wrap my head around. They must think Europe and US have no poor, no one there is unemployed, that slums are found only in India. This actually strengthens what the author is saying. There are people who are hungry and homeless in India and the government is spending on a statute. This definitely weakens it. That we want hungry and homeless to be fed. I don't really need to read the other two. I'll, that's the correct one that I've gotten it. Hope seems to have played a role in the mountain gorilla's rebound after we reduced them to a point. Can't really understand this. 9 minutes. Independent. So yesterday I watched a movie called as 21 with Kevin Spacey and other actors. So in that there a line was used stating blackjack is the past and the future. See, a lot of other thoughts will also keep coming here and there. You just have to, concentrate on not focusing on that. How individual rights and groups, what line should follow? Each of these questions remains as relevant today as they were 69 years ago. What line should follow? How it would be governed? What values would, what the objectives? How the society relations would be navigated? How individual rights? So all these are questions. So what should necessarily definitely follow is each of these questions remains as relevant as they were 69 years ago. Yes. Let me but quickly go through. See, what line should necessarily follow when you are asking so many questions? What values, what objectives, how, how? So then the most necessary, like the most obvious question should be like obvious line should be that all these questions remain as relevant. I think I'll go with A. So basically, yes, see, Jarawa face many threats makes a lot of sense here because it says tourists treat Jarawa like animals in a safari park. That's the threat. Enter the rich forest to steal the game. They need to survive, and they remain vulnerable to diseases. So they have three threats, as according to these three sentences. So, see, make sure that when you are taking an LSAT examination and sitting on a table in a chair, please make sure that you have a chair kept right opposite to you, so that you can, in between, you can rest your legs. Cannot sit for like so long. I just did. That is why I've told you guys. What's a Harlem? Harlem apartment? Okay, which of the following would the author agree to? Western fast food chains hoping to gain a foothold in the Indian market have often created good paneer dishes. Flavors and technique of chili paneer make it the most superior paneer dish in existence. We need rice or roti to eat paneer with, or else it's a complete waste. Chili paneer, one of the linchpins of Indian cuisines, first emerged when 18th century Chinese settlers came to Calcutta. None of these. I don't think she would agree to any of these. She just asked the recipe so that she could feed, you know, people coming to her house. Who casually cooked delicious Indian food and invited friends over for dinner. कहाँ कैलकटा वगैरह कहाँ पहुंच गए? None of these. Okay, two more questions, 3.5 minutes, and then three questions if I can go ahead. B might go to one flower and get a little pollen on its back. If it goes, flowers and pollen. So there's a correlation that has been created between car and my body. So car engine, the possible title for the passage could be car engine versus human body. Your body has a coolant too. Your extra body heat gets released through sweat gland in the form of sweat on your skin. When body temperature gets extreme, your body will produce even more sweat to expel that extra heat. Why do I sweat? Yes. So it's an explanation as to why do I sweat by making a correlation between engine of a car and a human body. Car engines versus human body is a very weird title. Why do I sweat? 1 minute 40 seconds. Let me see if I can answer any of these. Mountain gorillas. I can't read it. Okay, let me see this. Type 2 diabetes, 11 studies, 400 Muslim middle-aged people with type 2 diabetes. People who follow the plant-based diet experience significant improvement in blood sugar level, weight loss and cholesterol controls compared to people who do not follow the plant-based diet. What should the following line be? Some people who ate a plant-based diet were even able to reduce or eliminate their medications for diabetes control and high blood pressure. So this is, they're talking about plant-based diet, experienced improvements in sugar, blood sugar level, weight loss, cholesterol level, and some who ate plant-based diet even were able to reduce or eliminate their medication. This was easier. I mean, ninth. Now I don't know. I'll just say C20. I don't really have time. Yeah, I did randomly answer those two questions. I was not left with time. And now I have to start with analytical reasoning, which is not a very strong suit for me. Let me try. Okay, 22 questions. So 11 to 12 is what I need to get. Uh, Building has 5 floors, where ground floor is called floor 1, top floor as floor 5. There are total 10 flats in the building. Each floor has a different number of flats. One of the floors has no flat and is used for parties and other celebrations. Number of flats on second floor is twice so there are 5 floors. One, two, 3, 4, 5. Number of flats on second floor is twice that of the first floor. So if one is x, two is 2x. Number of flats in the top floor is more than the one immediately below it. So if y is so floor 4 is y, fifth floor would always be greater than y. ठीक है. So it becomes something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is x, this is 2x, this is y, and this is greater than. If the number of flats in top floor is 1, which of the following must be true? So 4 has to be 0 because okay. Now I need 9 flats. So this has to be 2, this has to be 4, this has to be 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So number of flats in floor 1 is 2, correct? Floor 2 is 0, no. Floor 3 is 4, no. Flat 4 is 0. So this is A. Array. Which of the following must be true about number of flats at any floor? About the number of flats at any floor. Floor having 2 flat is above floor having 1 flat. Uh, Floor having, there can be multiple cases here. So there can also be a case something like this where I keep this constant 1, 0 and 3. This could also be a case. Floor having 2 flat is above floor having 1 flat. Floor having 3 flat is above floor having 1 flat. Not necessarily. Floor having 3 flat is above floor having 2 flats. Correct. Floor having no flats is above floor having 3 flats. Not necessarily. The only thing that necessarily comes for me is C. See, I'm using mouse, so you might not be able to, so the handwriting might be very bad. If third floor cannot be used for party purposes, which of the following must be true? So third cannot be used for party purposes. Now, the third is not 0, okay, which is fair. Second floor must have 2 flats. No. Third floor must have 3 flats. Maybe. Fourth floor must have 0 flats. Correct. ये बन गया. And any of the following could be the number of flats at third and fourth floor respectively. Sorry, what? Any of the following could be the number of flats at third and fourth floor respectively of an acceptable arrangement except A. No, I will not leave it. I think I'm able to do solve this. Why will I leave it? I don't know आगे कर पाऊंगा कि नहीं. Uh, Except third and fourth floor. I think 0 and 3. If I keep 0 on third, 3 on fourth, I will have to have 4 on fifth floor. नहीं तो भी तो होता है 4 + 3 7 0 8 9 and 10 तो भी बन जाता है यार. So if I keep 0 here and 3 here, then I will have to have 4 here. I can have 1 and 2. ये भी बन गया possible arrangement. So 0 and 3 can be there. 4 and 0. If I keep 4 here and 0 above, then I need 1 upper. 4 and 0 I cannot have. I got it. 4 and 0 I, because if I keep 4 on third floor and 0 here, I need anything above 0. So 4, and if I keep a 2 or a 3, 3 भी तो रख सकते हो ऊपर. 3 0 4 and 1 and 2. That is also fair. 3 and 4. 3 and 4 cannot be there. 3 and 4 अगर रख दिया तो I need 1 2 fifth floor पे 0 होना पड़ेगा. So that 3 and 4 cannot be possible. So B is the correct answer. Fortunately. Which of the following must be true about... Shoot, I've taken a lot of time here. The following must be true about possible number of flats at any floor. There is exactly one floor between floor having none flat and one flat. Not necessarily. One floor between floors having two flats and one flat. Not necessarily. At most two floors between floors having three flats and one flat. Again, not necessarily. Two floors between floors having four flats and... ये नहीं हो रहा है. So random. Okay. So let me do this. Sorry, that was a work call. Uh, okay, exactly three cars: Toyota Camry, Nissan. Sorry, what? Toyota Camry, Nissan Kicks, and Tata Harrier are displayed during an event at a mall on 31st, 1st. Each car is displayed at least once during the event, but never more than once on a given day. On each day, at least one car is put up for display. At a time, only one car is displayed. Okay, so ठीक है, got it. On 30th, Nissan is displayed. No car is displayed after that. 30, 31st, 1st. 30th, Nissan, last slot. No car is displayed after that. ठीक है, so it's the last. 31st, either Toyota or Tata, but not both. Okay. And no car is displayed after it on that day. Toyota or Tata. On first, either Toyota Camry or Nissan, it's but not both. And no car is displayed after it on that day. So this is Toyota or Nissan. ठीक है. Which of the following could be a complete and accurate... where's the eraser? Okay, on which of the following could be a complete and accurate description of the order in which the cars are displayed during an event? 30th Tata Harrier, then Nissan Kicks, 31st Tata Harrier, then Nissan Kicks. A is wrong because इसमें Toyota तो आ ही नहीं रहा है and it has to be done at least one time. At a time, sorry, what? Each car is displayed at least once. Toyota Camry, then Tata Harrier, sorry, Nissan Kicks, okay, Toyota, then Tata Harrier, then Toyota Camry. B हो सकता है Nissan, Tata Harrier, then Toyota Camry. C भी हो सकता है Toyota Camry, then Nissan, then Tata Harrier. D नहीं है 30th को लास्ट में निसान होना है. So I have to choose between B or C. It's Nissan Kicks. No. Oh, B भी नहीं होगा because Toyota Camry and Tata Harrier cannot be there on the same. C is the correct answer. Got it. Which of the following cannot be true? Not using a rough sheet is very difficult here. Doing this on screen. Nissan. Which of the following cannot be true? Nissan Kicks is the last car displayed on each of the event. Each day of the event, it cannot be true. This is already given. Tata or so on 31st, the last day has to be the last car would either be a Toyota or a Tata. So this cannot be true. This was easy. If Tata Harrier is not displayed again during the whole event once, after event once Toyota Camry is displayed, then which of the following could be the maximum number of displays that can happen during the event? So maximum number करना है तो Toyota Camry को so last में रख दो Toyota. नहीं. So let me keep Toyota last में. So Tata can be here. So 2. Tata can be here. So 1, 2, 3. Nissan can be here. 4. 4. 5. I think 5 can be the maximum displays. Tata, Nissan 2. Again Tata 1 and Nissan can be done on 31st. Toyota को मैंने last में डाल दिया है. I've put Toyota in the last. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 again Tata 5. Acha, then there would be 6. Sorry, I have to have a Toyota as well. If Toyota Camry is displayed exactly 3 times and if Toyota Camry is displayed exactly 3 times, Nissan Kicks is displayed twice, Tata Harrier is displayed once, then which of the following must be true? Tata Harrier is once. Okay, so if I have to, Toyota Camry is displayed 3 times, matlab Toyota is on 30, 31st, first. So Nissan cannot be on first, cannot be displayed on first. All cars are displayed on the 30th, not necessarily true. Exactly two cars are displayed on first, again not necessarily true. Toyota, Camry and Nissan are both displayed on 31st. Toyota and Nissan has to be C. Hmm. If Tata Harrier is displayed three times, Nissan twice, and Toyota once, then which of the following is complete and accurate list of cars that could be displayed on 30th? Tata Harrier is three types, matlab all the 3 days. Nissan is displayed twice. So Nissan can be on 30 and 31st. And Toyota Camry is displayed once. Because first को first को I can put Toyota and Tata together because I need Tata on all the three slots. 31st ko there can be no Tata because I have to put Toyota. Complete and accurate that could be displayed on 30th. So I think only this works. C is the most obvious one because if I keep Toyota on 30th, then I will not have Tata on all the 3 days. So C works. Huh? Oh, done. Fair point. Okay. 15 minutes, 12 questions left. My God. This seems to be very lengthy one, yeah? Guys, just one second. I need to stop my Telegram notifications. It's bothering me like anything. Okay, so IMS is scheduling a seven. This seems to be very difficult one. One, two, three, four, five. Let me see. Just 16 is also this. 17. Okay, 18 में change हुआ है. So this is a very long one. So let me try and solve the last one. A chef is evaluating exactly four spices P, Q, R, and S. Guys, I will use my paper and pen. I don't have a vacuum device to do this on the screen quickly. PQRS, four spices. The only flavor they can have a sweet, bitter, salty, and aromatic. Sweet, salty, bitter, aromatic. Okay. The chef knows the following to be true for the spices and the flavor. Each spice has at least one flavor. No spice is both salty and bitter. Salty and bitter साथ में नहीं होता. Okay. Spice S has no flavor in common with any other spice. So spice S is unique. Spice P and Q have exactly one flavor in common. P and Q have something in common. Okay. Salty is a flavor of P. So P is salty, sure. Bitter is Q. Q is bitter. So Q is salty also. That's the common one. Sweet is not a flavor of R. R is not sweet. If spice Q is not sweet, then which of the following statements must be true? R is salty. If Q is S has no flavor in common with any other spice. So S is unique. S could be aromatic. So if I keep S as aromatic, R could be salty or bitter. Q is salty and bitter. P is definitely salty. But then it is also saying no spice is both salty and bitter. So how can Q be salty and bitter? Bitter is a flavor of spice Q. Oh, sorry. So it cannot be salty. Q cannot be salty. P will have to be sweet. And the common thing between P and Q is sweet. R is not sweet. So R could be either salty or either bitter. P is not aromatic. I think spice R is salty. This can be true. See, I can't answer a lot of things that is going on in my mind, and your questions are there. But what I can say is Q cannot be aromatic because that is not a common feature because S has to be unique. S has no flavor in common with any other spice. So therefore, S has to be one which is neither sweet, salty, or bitter. If S is not sweet, then which of the following statement must be true? S is aromatic. Which of the following could be true? Q is salty? No. S is salty? No. Q is aromatic? No. P is bitter? No. Q is can Q be salty? No. Q is bitter. It cannot be salty. S is salty. S could be salty. I can say R could be aromatic. Okay. S could be. I can interchange. If spices P, Q, and R have a flavor in common, then which of the following statements must be true? P, Q, R have a flavor in common. S is aromatic because S does not have a flavor in common. It has to be true. If spice R, if spice R has more than one flavors, spice R has more than one flavor, then which one of the following statements could be true? Spice R is aromatic? No. अगर common है तो it cannot be aromatic. R is bitter? Could be. P is sweet? Could be. R is not bitter. Spice R is aromatic. R is bitter. हो सकता है. P is sweet. अच्छा नहीं, एक मिनट. If R has more than one flavors, it cannot be sweet. So the following statements must be true. R is bitter could be a possibility. Spice P is sweet. हाँ, हो सकता है. यार ये क्वेश्चन ही नहीं समझ में आ रहा है, कुछ भी डाल दो यार इसका. Spice R is not bitter. ये तो नहीं है. Anything related to R I can say कि वो सही है. It says that must be true. Hey, oh freak. Spice P is sweet. Absolutely, वो तो पहले ही आ गया था मेरा. Okay, so I have almost 6 minutes left and 7 questions. IMS is scheduling a 7-week long fast track course for law entrance exams for 4 topics: LA, LR, VA, QA. LA, LR, VA, QA. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. I think it's 7. One, two, three, four, five, six, 7. Sorry guys, I can't really show you what I'm doing in my sheet. It's something like this that I'm doing. LA, LR, VA, and QA. Partho, please don't say like that. LR will not be scheduled in 4th week. Okay. QA will be scheduled in week 7. Okay. Verbal will be scheduled exactly twice, and at least once LA will be covered in between one of those weeks. Verbal will be done twice, and at least once LA will be covered in between. Okay, so LA के बीच में, मतलब LA should be in between, ठीक है? The week immediately preceding LR must be LA. All right. No 2 weeks will consecutively have same topic. Fair enough. Which of the following is an acceptable schedule for sessions for fast track course in order from week 1 to week 7? सब में QA लास्ट में दे ही दिया है. So there are 4. VA has to be done twice. legal aptitude, logical reasoning, verbal aptitude, quant, legal aptitude, verbal aptitude, quant, law, English, math, English. ये तो बी नहीं होगा because it is not between two VAs are not between LA. A can be. Uh, LR is not fourth, that is fine. VA is twice, one between LA. LR, VA, LA, VA, LA, LR, QA. फोर्थ भी हो सकता है बी ए क्यू एल आर बी ए ये नहीं होगा सो ए और सी में कुछ भी हो सकता है सी को एलिमिनेट क्या कर सकते हैं shoot I don't have a lot of time now let me at least do this because I've invested a lot of time week immediately preceding LR must be LA therefore A makes sense would have saved a lot of time here. Which of the following cannot be true about fast track course schedule for law entrance exam for IMS? QA will be covered in week 6. Verbal will be, I don't have time. I'll have to go with anything. BA 6th week. God knows. Shoot, I missed one question. Okay. Big one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 6. Okay. Not a very big one. 11. Okay. 16 seems the smallest one. 21. Okay. So I'll start with 16. Ethics is based on well-founded standards of right and wrong that prescribe what humans ought to do. Usually, it's wrong. Raymond Walmart asked business people, "What does ethics mean to you?" Among the replies were, "Ethics has to be with what my feelings tell me is right or wrong. Ethics has to do with my religious beliefs. Being ethical is doing what the law requires. Ethics consists of standards of behavior." I don't know what the word means. The meaning of ethics is hard to pin down, and views have about ethics are shaky. Walmart's first responded, "Many people tend to equate ethics with their feelings, but ethics is clearly not a matter of one's feelings. Individual feelings may recoil from doing what is right. Nor should one identify ethics with religion. Most religion, of course, advocate high ethical standards, yet if ethics were confined to religion, then ethics would apply only to religious people. But ethics applies as much to the behavior of the atheist as to the devout religious person. Religion can set high ethical standards and can provide intense motivation for ethical behavior. Ethics are taken cannot be confined to religion, nor is it the same as religion. Ethical is also not the same as following the law. So basically, he's breaking up each and every answers that he got. Being ethical is not the same as following the law. Law often incorporates ethical standards, but laws like feelings can deviate from what is ethical. American pre-Civil War slavery laws, apartheid laws. Examples, ठीक है. Finally, being ethical is not the same as doing what society accepts. Most people accept standards that are in fact ethical. Standards of behavior in society can deviate from what is ethical. An entire society can be ethically corrupt. Nazi Germany is a good example. Which question is the passage answering? What is ethics? It is not talking about values and morals, it is only talking about ethics. What the society expects from its people is a very small subpart. How is ethics related to religion is again out of one of the answers, like one of the answers of the result. According to the passage, ethics is most related to laws and justice, feelings and emotions, principles and righteousness, none of the above. Feelings and emotions, though, cut kar diya, laws and justice also cut. Then we have principles and righteousness. We have 31 minutes left. Which of the following strengthens the point made by Baumhart with respect to feelings? Strengthens the point made by with respect to feelings. Feelings change. Like feelings frequently deviate from what is ethical. Correct. Feelings assist us in doing what is correct. No. We will be guided by a moral conscience. No. The behavior stems from a personal emotion and feelings attached to experiences. I will not overthink. What is the relation between religion and ethics according to the passage? Religion has ethics, but it's not completely ethics. Religion encompasses ethical behavior, is correct. Ethics compasses religious practice, no. Ethics can provide intense motivation for religious behavior. Religious behavior can make it more ethical. Ethics is related to religion in theory, but ethical behavior is not confined to religious people. This is also correct. This also makes a lot of sense. Ethics is related to religion in theory. Ethical behavior is not confined to religious people. If being ethical means doing what society accepts, what would hold true? Editor ka belief, no. Constitution makes sense. Religious heads makes no sense. Survey of the people and then confirm my beliefs to whatever the society accepts makes sense. Uh, but the constitution is something which is accepted by the society. I would go with constitution. Okay, so this is the next passage. Smaller one, let me do it. Passage A, passage B. The biggest advantage of saying I do is your earnings typically go up and your expenses go down. Uh, this leads to married couples accumulated more assets than their non-married counterparts. Okay, so there are two incomes to join. If that's the situation, then you may benefit from a more beefed up balance sheet. This can help couples qualify for a better mortgage or business loans. Okay. At least one study has shown that marriage has more positive impact on wealth creation than staying single. Researchers at Ohio State University and networks explain individual net worth increase. Married couple also see their wealth jump. Okay. So marriage and income. While you certainly don't need a big fancy wedding to tie the knot, the cost of reception goes down, structures, blah blah blah. I would recommend one big reason couples put it on back burner. $22,000, which is a down payment on a nice home. What's also true unfortunately, is that money is one of the leading causes of fighting in a marriage and a top predictor of divorce. That's partially because we tend to marry our financial opposites. Okay, financial planning can become a bigger source of stress in matrimony. Problems are likely to arise when realistic spending boundaries are not set, says Francis. One person is spender and the other is saver. Both passages were written primarily in order to answer which of the following questions: millennials value of financial cost of marriage, why are financial pros and cons of uh, getting married, what are the advantages and disadvantages of marriage. No, so what are the financial pros and cons of getting? So passage here talks about the pros, that your income doubles, and the cons is that we spend a lot of money on the marriage, which is a con of the financial con of getting married. I will have to be very. Oh, shoot. Both the passages mention the relation of marriage to money. Authors of both the passage would agree with which of the following: marriage is essential, marriage is a burden, marriage has economic implications. Which of the following most accurately characterizes the relationship between the two passages? Passage A talks about advantages, passage B talks about disadvantages. Correct. Passage A talks about how marriage provides a greater chance at building wealth, and passage B talks about how marriage could mean additional money stress. This is even better. A talks about marriage while being employed, no. Marriage and the law, no. B is the most efficient one. This is the last one I cannot hit submit. Remember. Webhub, remember. Which of the following principles underlines the argument in both the passage? Marriage is a consensual union. Marriage is not sacred. Marriage is affected by money matters. Correct. Let us come to 11. Okay, 11 or 6 or 1. 1 is the most lengthiest one. 6. All around the world, teenage girls are more likely than boys to reach a basic level of proficiency in math, science, and reading. Girls continue to lag behind boys in math, according to a report by OECD. Looks at gender differences in study performance across 64 countries and economies. OECD distributes the program for international student assessment taken by 15-year-olds around the world every 3 years. Issue of gender equality in education. The increasing gap between male and female academic achievement and shows what that young women are often performing better than their male peers. In reading, across countries examined in the report, boys are more likely to post low scores in maths, reading, and science. Compared to girls, boys are more likely to say their things, schooling a waste of time, show up late to class, and generally be less ambitious. Homework. Uh, Evidence suggests that even though boys underperform in schools as teenagers, they tend to gain necessary literacy skills by adulthood. 23 minutes for 3, almost 8 minutes per passage. Gain necessary literacy skills by adulthood. Previous surveys from the OECD show that men are just as proficient as women in literacy by adulthood. Yet, top performing girls continue to lag behind to underrepresentation of women in science, tech, engineering, and math job. In science, top performing boys outscore top performing girls on average, but there are a number of countries where girls post overall higher scores than boys in this area. But in math, boys significantly outperform girls on average in 38 countries and economies. What is the passage about? Passages about how boys and girls are staking up against each other in the school. How are they performing? Which of the following is true about PISA based on the passage? PISA stands for Program for International Students Association. एक minute. Program for International नहीं. Program for International Student Assessment. PISA is an exam taken by all students around the world to show their academic standing, taken by 15-year-olds around the world. 3 times a year. No, every 3 years, not 3 times a year. So B, C is correct. Which of the following would weaken the finding that top performing girls continue to lag behind top performing boys in math and science? So that was because of underrepresentation of women. So A नहीं है. B could be correct. Thwarted from using this weakens, this does not. अच्छा एक मिनट. Are somehow thwarted from using their mathematical skills in more specialized higher education and ultimately in their careers. Girls report having lower level of confidence in their math abilities and experiencing high level of anxiety when performing math related tasks than boys. So if I say that top performing girls continue to lag behind, and I say that in some cases they are achieving considerably and doing better than male across all subjects, that weakens that, right? ठीक है. OECD report finding states what? There are specific factors as to why boys and girls perform better in certain areas. They don't say anything about boys doing something well. So this is wrong. Girls are outperforming boys in language acquisition. They talked about reading. They did not talk about language. Could be. Girls are more ambitious than boys when it comes to professional aspirations. This was there. Uh, I think it should be C. The author makes a connection between gender and education. Okay, so this is the next passage. Religion shared collection of transcendental beliefs that have been passed on from believers to converts that are held by adherents to the influence base. Governance. There are certain rituals, practical implications for how life should be lived. Religion often includes spiritual explorations for a place in the world in an attempt to answer questions about why we are here. Worship of deities and supernatural entities, conceptions of holy and sacred activities, ideas, and objects, set rituals, calendars, and approaches seasons. Religion is difficult to define because human belief structures are varied and complicated. Many definitions of religion have been attempted in India. So how can religion be defined as something which tries to address? So passage A is trying to define. So religion often includes. So this is a definition, and passage B says that there is difficulty in definition. So both of them are trying to answer how can religion be defined. Both the passages mention the relation of religion to belief. Authors of both passages are more likely to agree with which of the following. Religion spread from people to people. Religion consists of beliefs, action, and institution which assume the existence of supernatural entities. All religions are not alike. Many problems come from wide uses of the word religion. This is second author. I would say religions are not alike. Which of the following would weaken the arguments presented in both the passage? Religion is not important to people because they are highlighting what is the importance of religion in people's life. How do people, share it, live with it? Maybe people convert. So if I say that religion is not important to people, that weakens. Religion is a way of life, strong, have established themselves over time. That is also correct. The Strong's religion involves mindfulness. That also strengthens that religion is a way of life. So A is correct. Which of the following most accurately characterizes the relationship between the two passages? Passage A provides a definition while passage B presents an expert opinion on religions around the world. A proposes the origin of religion while B provides a definition. No. A provides definition while B presents the difficulties in defining the religion. C is the correct. Okay, so now I'm just left with one passage and some 13 odd minutes. I'll take a 40-second break. I will be able to complete this in 13 minutes around. 5 questions. Okay, so advertising developed in a variety of media. Perhaps the most basic was a newspaper offering advertisers large circulations, a readership located close to that by advertisers place of business. Frequent releases magazines, of which may be of general interest, or they may be aimed at specific audiences. Sports and literature. For the manufacturers of so of particular interest to certain people, a chance to be contacted with weekly customers. Many national magazines publish regional editions prompting more selective targeting of activities also. Investment in national nations, television and radio became the most pervasive media. Although in our country, radio and television are state funded except in advertising, in other advertising, they are able to buy short spots of time, usually in spots are broadcast between a during regular programs at moments, sometimes visited by the advertiser and sometimes left up to the broadcaster for facts about a given television or radio program are the size and composition of an audience. The size of the audience determines the amount of money the broadcaster can charge the advertiser. Composition of the audience determines the advertiser's choice as to when a certain message directed at a certain segment of public should run. The other advertising media include direct mail, which can make a highly detailed and personalized appeal. Outdoor billboards and posters, transit advertising, which can reach the millions of users of mass transit systems and miscellaneous media, with dealer displays and promotional items such as matchbooks or calendars. So first passage is very information centric and very lengthy. So let me see if and I am sure they would have certain questions from this because it has a lot of information. So let me try to answer all these before I forget. uh, what is the main point of the passage? I don't know. I will have to go to the second question. Which of these, if true, offers a criticism of advertising? uh, Criticism of advertising can be: consumer must pay for the cost of advertising in the form of higher prices for goods. Correct. Promoting a good that is for sale, but similar methods are used for encouraging people to drive safely. No. Advertising, yeah. B is, so this is something which was just logical. Which of these is true according to the passage? Pura, once I read the entire thing, I'll answer it. What does the size of the audience determine? See, this is from first passage. Size of the audience determines the amount of money the broadcaster can charge in advertising. B. Fifth, which of the following is true about digital technology as per the passage? Digital technology I have not read. So here is digital technology. So let me just read this and answer it. Use digital technology to cater greater attention to product design. For example, the world's first video advertisements to be embedded in a print publication appeared in Entertainment Weekly magazine. See, hey, there's all of the above also. Chip technology is an example of digital technology. Uh, thin battery powered screen implanted in the page could store 40 minutes of video via chip technology and automatically map all of the above. So now I have to do three. Which of these is true according to the passage? In Western industrial nation, internet and newspapers are the most pervasive media. Developing countries, radio and television are state-run and accept no advertising from private companies. No, this is not what they said. They said there are certain countries which have state-run television. Advertising in special interest magazines enables manufacturers to connect with their most likely customers. Yes, magazines. First passage. Particular interest. Now only one question and I have 8 minutes left. So I'm well before my time. I wish I would have gotten that time for analytical reasoning, but okay. What is the main point of the passage? The main point of passage is talking about advertisement and in ancient and medieval world, advertising existed was conducted by word of mouth. No. Great expansion of business in the 19th century was accompanied by the growth of an advertising industry. 19th century are they talking about somewhere? I'm not 21st century. 1800s ka they're not talking about anywhere. Advertising makes uses of wide variety of media and complex strategies in order to reach consumers and influence their purchasing decisions. Yes. Most advertising involves promoting something for social good. No. So 19th century, I'm not sure of because they have not mentioned it anywhere in the passage. So I can't go and say that 18th century may something happened. So no. So yes. I am done, and I don't have to do anything. I'll just submit the paper. With some 7 minutes left, I have submitted the paper. Now let me actually share the screen of how do I actually wait. So this is the screen that I need to share, and yes. So, all right, my score is 81, which is very good. I have scored tremendously well in English, logic. Analytical, I did not do well. 97 attempts. Acha, all the questions were attempted. I think that was also marked, the one in analytical section. So, 81 correct out of 97, an accuracy of 83.51. I am very happy. I've exceeded my uh, attempts. Like I've exceeded what I thought of that I would be gaining. So this is good. I have done pretty well. Attempted questions, one time per attempted question, 1 minute 30 seconds. 1 minute. Okay, so 1 minute 22 second is my average. Which is okay. I think you can take this amount of time. So I was reading slowly. I was explaining what was going on in my mind, and and yeah. So despite doing it slowly and gradually, uh, what I was still able to complete everything on time. I also feel that the paper was slightly on an easier side. It was not very complicated. The logical reasoning, analytical reasoning, I would say, uh, I could have done better. For sure, I could have done better. I attempted all the 22, but I got only 11 correct. So I could have done better here. But then again, overall, 81 is like too good a time, like too good a score. Uh, I have exceeded my expectations, specifically in logical reasoning one and reading comprehension. RC was very easy. To be very honest, RC was easy. I found RC to be very easy. Logical reasoning one was good because I was absolutely fresh, and what I did in the last 1.5 hours before I had to take the mock was there were two things that I did. Uh, One, I slept at 10:30 at night yesterday, which is not generally my sleeping time, to be honest. I sleep at around 1:30 or 2. So I slept at 10:30. I literally, so I had a lot of work yesterday that helped me get tired, and I did some physical activity which helped me get just crash and sleep. So I had a very good night's sleep. I woke up very fresh at around 7 o'clock in the morning. I had like good 9 hours of sleep, so my mind was absolutely fresh. Um, I just I just did my newspaper reading in the morning, not my regular paper. My paper guy gave me Hindustan Times today. I don't know why. Fortunately, I read some page three kind of information, and reading about supermodels and Rasika Dugal and everything. I did not read anything, so it was just leisure reading that I did in the morning. Had a very light breakfast or something, and in the last 1.5 hours before taking the test, I watched three, four episodes of Friends. That is like my go to TV series. So I just relaxed my mind and I did nothing else. So these were the things that I did, which now in retrospect, which I think, and of course, one very important thing which I have to give credit to. was the mock that I took 3 days back. And while I was giving that mock 3 days back, I could not really literally sit at this chair for a straight 2 hours, 20 minutes. So I went to the couch, I sat on the floor, again came back to the table. I kept dwindling and dangling here and there, which of course you cannot do in the actual examination. But that walk actually helped me get that stamina which is required. So considering all of that, I think I did fairly very well now. So now let me actually go through certain. So yes, Lakshmi, you were correct. I scored 81. Yes, it was very calm until analytical reasoning came, and thereafter, yes, it was very chaotic. But yes, the reading comprehension again, it was very calm. See, in reading comprehension, one thing which I did, which I think helped, and you don't have to right away start with the first passage itself. I looked at what passage seemed very small to me, and I started from there. So, when it starts happening, when you start doing, and when you know that you have completed two passages and only two or three more passages are left, then you automatically get a little calm. Your mind gets, and when you start with something easier, your mind gets used to it. So that is one very key strategy that I think you should keep in mind. So you people had bet on my score, and I guess Bharat lost that bet. I hope you did not lose a lot of money, Bharat. Very exhausted, very exhausted. uh, can't even tell how exhausted I am right now, but I'm happy with the performance, so yeah. Excited for the reunion? Absolutely, but I don't have HBO. I actually don't use DTH service, so I don't really know where will I be watching it. So, but yes, I'm absolutely excited for the reunion. Will there be CLAT live solving? There should be. I'm sure. I'm sure we would be doing CLAT live mock solving as well. Will LSAT paper be a bit more difficult? Hard to say, but yeah, let's be prepared mentally that the paper is going to be difficult than this. Are these mocks comparatively easier than the usual LSAT exam? Question mark. Kabir, I really can't say that, but yes, again, the first mock that I took, I found it to be difficult on many levels. On the level of questions, on the level of my, say for it. So see, again, it's not just that you see 81. You also, if for example, I have to show, I think I should be showing you the first one as well, where I did not really perform very well. So I think all of you should see this score of 50 as well as 81. And this actually represents that mocks can be difficult. The first mock for me was difficult on many levels because I had absolutely, for the last 1 year, I had not taken any mocks. And I did not have the, you know, I had absolutely no stamina to write. Second biggest problem that I faced while writing the mock test one was I started writing this at 9:30 in the night when the exam is not going to happen, and I had worked that entire day. I was any which way exhausted. My mental fatigue was already there. So that score. But I needed to take that mock because I needed to solve it today, and I wanted to at least go through that grueling, uh, you know, session. One very important thing that I also did in the morning was I was talking to myself. I kept on talking to myself, stating that it is going to be good. I was giving positive reaffirmations to myself that today I'll score well. I was giving that I will score a bare minimum of 75 to my score karunga. So that pep talk that I kept giving to myself is something which helped. And I'll tell you why did that pep talk happen was because I had read this in the morning. So what you read is something which helps you, and this was an article and an interview by Rasika Dukal where she said that I pep talk myself to exercise, and I started talking to myself that I'm going to do well today, I'm going to do well, I'll perform well. So I just emptied my mind. I was fresh, which helped me increase my score. So yes, you should not attempt. So this is a suggestion which I always keep giving to you people, that you should never take mocks at night, or you should generally take the mocks at the time that you would be taking, and that is why we chose 12 to 2:30, because that is the first slot uh, that LSAT people have given. So therefore, again, see, percentile is something that depends upon who the highest which person or which student, which aspirant has scored the highest. So now, if for example there are 100 students taking LSAT India examination, and the highest score, for example, is 81, then that would be 100 percentile. Anything below 81 starts going as a 99 percentile or an 88 percentile. You have a formula for that. So you can calculate your. So until unless you know how much have you actually scored, or how much has the topper scored, you cannot compute the percentile. But a raw score, like I said, above 75, 75 or above 75 would be a very, very good score to be in the top 15% of the overall test takers. How can we improve our analytical reasoning? So, Kaushal, I think one thing that we can do for analytical reasoning is staying very calm all throughout, and not having an expectation that you will be able to solve all the four or all the five sets. Try doing three sets properly, and I think that would still be a very, very good uh, attempt. Will there be live MHCT mock solving? Yes, we'll have one live solving of MHCT mock as well, but that would be very, very close to the exam, which we do not know as to when will it happen, because no informations are out as of now for MHCT. LSAT India faculty is saying their class that score of 40, 50, or 45 is 90 percentile. See, it always depends upon the overall difficulty of the paper as well. Now, if this is the level, if the fifth mock, if we say, was the level of difficulty of the paper, you cannot say that 40 or a 50 would be a 90 percentile. It cannot be. It was an easy paper, relatively easier paper. So, am I going to do the analysis? Yes. Let me actually do the analysis now. Let me quickly share it. So, all right. Logical reasoning, may I made a mistake in one. So now what do I do is I go through the question once again. Okay, so this is one which I had not even attempted properly. I had taken a wild guess. Okay, logical reasoning two. There are three incorrect. Okay, Grant and Glueck had two main findings: happiness is love, or good relationship keeps us happier and healthier. If alcoholism is not the root of all evil, it is uh, closely correlated with it. Which of the following would weaken the argument? So A is definitely wrong. A weakens the second part, but then again, true. It does not really does not really weaken the argument. This is strengthening. 77% of those extremely happy said the state of their relationship doesn't matter or is unimportant. State. Okay, so this C makes more sense when 77 of the extremely happy said that which state are their relationship is. So 77% of extremely happy people said that whether our relationship is good or bad, it does not matter. That weakens the argument that happiness is love or good relationship keeps us happier and healthier. C should be the correct answer. Let me check. C is the correct answer. Now I can look at the explanation as well. I have understood it correctly. So rather than directly looking at the answer and the explanation, I should be thinking that why did I, or what was the incorrect thing that I had thought of. Okay, ninth is again which I had taken a complete guess. So I will solve it properly. Mountain gorillas is also something which I took a wild guess. So I would be solving it all together like completely afresh, reading and understanding it. Analytical reasoning mein I did a lot of oh shoot, there were a lot of mistakes. So someone was actually right when they said that my sweet and salty thing is wrong. I really made a out of five I got only one correct. Where did I actually go wrong? Each spice has at least one flavor. No spice is both salty and bitter. S has no flavor in common with any other spice. S is unique, correct? P and Q, P and Q have exactly one flavor in common. P and Q have one thing in common. Salty is a flavor of spice P. P is salty, okay? Bitter is a flavor of spice Q. So Q is bitter, P is salty, Q cannot be salty. So what can be common? P is salty, therefore P cannot be bitter. P cannot be aromatic, Q cannot be aromatic. So the common thing between P and Q has to be sweet. Sweet is not a flavor for spice R. R is not sweet. So R, see S, it says that S has no flavor in common with any other spice. So S cannot be bitter because Q is bitter. S cannot be salty because P is salty. And S cannot be sweet because P and Q ka common is sweet. So therefore S has to be aromatic. How am I going wrong? So they say salty and aromatic. But how? Bitter and aromatic, not sweet. R is not sweet, correct? Maybe aromatic or bitter or salty, but not all three because only two flavors. No common flavor, therefore S becomes sweet. So I understood where I did a mistake. So the common factor between P and Q could also have been aromatic because R was not sweet. S could have been the unique one with sweet, and aromatic could have been P. So there could have been two cases. So these were the two cases that could have been made. I made it all on case one, and all the answers were based on case two. That's the mistake that happened here. So P and Q could be aromatic because it says P and Q have one flavor in common. So P and Q, the flavor that could have been common between P and Q could have either been sweet or aromatic. They have taken aromatic and gotten all the answers on the basis of aromatic. It could also be a possibility that it could have been sweet. Ideally, I'm not very convinced. There are two caselets that are possible here. They could have taken P and Q as aromatic, which they have taken, or they could have taken P and Q as sweet and taken S as aromatic. Then all my answers would have been correct. And there are two caselets possible. But fair enough, you guys can also apply some mind. Now I'm done. Like I'm exhausted. My brain's not working. But I will definitely have a look at this question once again. So the idea of analyzing is sitting with your mistakes and working on it. So you'll have to go through each and every mistake that you find, and you'll have to solve it from the very beginning. Okay, Tanisha says question says Q is not sweet, so by default it's aromatic. That's a blunder. Thank you, Tanisha, for pointing it out. That was actually a blunder which I did. So if Q is not sweet, it becomes aromatic. The common thing between P and Q becomes aromatic. S becomes sweet. Must be true. R is salty. Don't know. P is aromatic. Could be. R is aromatic. S is aromatic. So I think P should be aromatic. B is the correct answer. Got it. I understood. I understood. But why did I mark S is salty? It should be Q is aromatic. C. P, Q, and R have a flavor in common, then which of the following statement must be true? If they have a flavor in common, then it will have to be aromatic. P is aromatic, R is salty, R is bitter. P is aromatic. Correct. And if R has more than one flavors, then which of the following statements must be true? R has more than one flavor. It cannot be bitter. If it is salty, it cannot be bitter. If it is bitter, it cannot be salty. It has to be aromatic. Spice R is aromatic. I got it now. I got it late and I got it now. I made a huge blunder in this. This was an easy set. My score could have been like what? One, two, three, four. My score would have been 85. But okay, no problem, no hard feelings, no hard feelings. It's okay. I still did well. So I hope, guys, I'll take your leave now. I think this. So always remember few points. Key takeaways from today's session would be sleep well a day before your test. Like sleep for 9-10 hours straight. Just do some leisure reading in the morning. uh, Watch some shows or something that keeps you in a good space of mind. Don't exhaust your brain prior to taking the test, because it is any which way very exhausting. And make sure that you use elimination of options as much as you can. You don't have to go in a sequence in that particular section. Whatever one you find to be one which requires lesser reading, read them first, attempt them first, and then go ahead. More importantly, before you actually start looking at the options, formulate the answer in your head, because that will allow you to understand, or that would give you the confidence that you have actually understood the passage properly. Then you go ahead to mark that, and then you find that answer, something near to that answer, and then you mark the option. So these are the key takeaways. I hope all of you will remember them, will execute them. If you have any mocks left, please take them and keep them in mind. I wish you all the very, very best for LSAT India 2021. I'm sure all of you will rock the examination, will come back with great percentile in your hands, and a very good, you know, maybe a good college admit on the basis of your LSAT India score. So thank you so very much for joining in. It was a very long 3 hour session that we did. I understand all of you must be very exhausted by now. But still, thank you to everyone who stayed, and I would wish everyone all the very, very best. And we'll meet again post your LSAT India examination. Let's connect again. Till then, wish you all the very, very best. Stay safe, take care, study well, and have fun. Goodbye. Guys, do please leave some good feedback in the comment section.